I didn't spend much time there, it's not so.
All the big four teams are sold out, the Wake, NC State, Carolina,
Oh, yeah.
throughout all basketball throughout the year, all sold out.
Yeah.
I just gotta notice that.
Nice.
Tell them to go down, it's just something.
You did it again?
Oh, yeah. I ran track.
All good? Ready
There
to
you go.
start? All right, I call to order the January 9th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting. It is 7:15. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Cordy?
Yes, here.
Mrs. Trent?
Here.
Ms. Nager?
Here.
Mrs. Owen?
Here.
Ms. Wilson?
Here. All right, I'm going to dispense the Pledge of Allegiance as we did it at our first meeting. Can I have someone move to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Second? Discussion?
I would actually like to modify the agenda. I'd like to motion that we remove item number D1, which is process for appointing general counsel from this agenda. I would like to add it to the January business agenda for discussion. While I am prepared to discuss this, my intention was to have this conversation with administration and with the recent changes. I feel it's respectful and appropriate to do that.
I think that's smart.
All right, so removing
I'm sorry, I'll leave two D1, thank you.
All right, so it sounds like the majority agree.
Well, we have to vote, just motion, so I'm saying seconded and.
And Mr. Cordy, second? Yeah.
All right, any other discussion? All right, roll call?
Ms. Nager?
Yes.
Mr. Cordy?
Yes.
Mrs. Trent?
Yes.
Mrs. Owen?
Yes.
And Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
All right. We'll move that around. Is there any other discussion for the agenda? Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Cordy?
Here.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Owen?
Yes.
Ms. Nager?
Yes.
And Mrs. Trent?
Yes. All right. So I'm going to read the resolution approving an amended attorney engagement and fee agreement. Consistent with the November 10th, 2024 action of the Rocky River City School District Board of Education, resolution number 352-24, the board hereby approves the amended attorney agreement and fee agreement with the law firm of McGowan and Markling Company, LPA, a copy of which is attached hereto and incorporated herein, and directs the board president, treasurer, and superintendent to execute the same on behalf of the board.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, this isn't about fees, this is just to tie things up, so, Counselor Markling can, is this actually reflecting what he's doing for us? I
Correct.
think it's probably worth saying that people don't pay
Yeah.
attention.
Yep, there was no change in the fees. All right, any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Owen?
Yes.
Mr. Cordy?
Yes.
Mrs. Trent?
Yes.
Ms. Nager?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna move to finance. Craig, over to you.
So, finance, just a couple of things. So the first item, board revisions slash board of tax appeals protocol. So I just wanted to clarify, with board on what I should be doing with council for those matters. So that is, David C. from Brisbane Heresy. And, typically in past years, we had a resolution, and it was very specific to authorize the superintendent and the treasurer to essentially, work with council to negotiate settlements, accept settlements, and then report back to the board, of course. And as you know, for my monthlies, as well as just ad hoc, if, and I have an example I would use is like Lowe's or Westgate, right? A big case comes up, maybe that's what we've done. There's really been no additional ratification or anything. So, I guess my view is, and I know Ms. Markland told me, as we met, that I can proceed as we have. That being said, it was very specific in the past to what, I guess, ultimately my authority and now Ms. Anderson's authority as well. And I will say the past, Dr. Schoaf really, didn't get involved too much in that. I mean, occasionally we would talk, but that was really, a treasure piece. So I guess, long story short, I just want to clarify from the board that, I would have that authority to do that, or is the board willing to, or wanting to maybe take a more active role in approving things like that? And I would suggest as well that, and it doesn't have to be next week, but probably soon, that we have attorney seated, just to talk about, get an update on cases, and talk about the protocols that maybe he would suggest going forward, in this room. So hopefully that's clear.
Greg, we approve any settlements, right?
No, not specifically. No, I share them with you, and you guys look at them, and obviously you have an issue. I don't recall ever, having an issue, right? But that's where that resolution is always given Superintendent Treasurer pretty broad authority to work with council. If there is and I'll say this, Mrs. Maloney, if there's like a payment in lieu of taxes, where
Right.
the law used to allow that, we would, sign off on those agreements, you'd be presented with, but there wasn't always necessarily a ratification of. And again, that's fine, I just wanna be very clear, because I don't want in any way to overstep my authority with these matters.
I guess I thought you always had that authority. I know that
Mhm.
resolution sort of states the obvious, is what I think. So I don't, from what I understand, that resolution isn't necessary for you to have the authority to do that. I think you should continue to do what you're doing. My understanding is what we do need to get, though, are the legal contracts completed as soon as practically possible.
And you're talking more the engagement letters.
Correct,
the terms
correct.
Versus
Yeah,
the.
there's more legal underpinning to those contracts than the resolution, is how I understand it. And I guess I'm sensing that the resolution makes you feel better, but I don't know that we legally have to do that resolution, as long as we all sit here and say, yes, you are authorized to do that work.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna just, am I correct, attorney, or no? If I'm not an attorney, so is that true?
Yes.
Okay. So I think it's not necessary, that we can certainly all nod and say, yes, please continue to do the work that you've been doing with David Z.
There are other thoughts?
I would say, I would affirm that position around the authority to, work with the Board of Revisions and with the attorney, particularly on those, we really focus on the large commercial properties we're not looking at. And, that said, there's been a lot of recent, somewhat recent, maybe within the last year, legislative changes that have changed and limited our ability as a school district to file and counterfile. I do think, given those changes, as well as just like there's new construction and like there's just lots of things shifting, it could be helpful to have a legal, a briefing. Would understand that would be legal strategy, so that would be, an executive session. We do have our people that support us with things come in. We have investment people come in to talk about investments, we have people come in and update us on all sorts of things. And so, given some of the shifts, I think particularly because our authority now, based on state legislation, is a lot more limited, it might be helpful to hear, again, I tend to agree with you, Greg, I don't think we have to do it now or next week but, maybe in February, just a kind of update on strategy, I would really appreciate that, especially given changes in legislation and the fact that that's gonna probably not end with the new, state.
No, right now, it only
So I think
usually
more.
seems to get more
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
right, in this
So I just think kind of getting a lay of the land would be useful.
Yeah,
Happy
Dave was
to have
really,
that update.
yeah, Dave was really good, actually, he sent me an email, which I will share, there's a little bit of an update there, but.
Okay.
And David has come before.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, on occasion.
Yeah.
Not frequently, but.
No,
on
no,
occasion.
yeah, he's been here maybe a handful, 2-3 times.
I would also affirm that, Greg, to continue, doing what you're doing,
Okay.
the way you're doing it. As the resolution states.
Great.
We could sit here all night and add things for you to do. So if you have any suggestions on how to make it easier or streamline it, and still try to get the questions answered, I'm all ears. If there's
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, and obviously the council here in this area, I mean, does the heavy lifting, but, you
Okay.
know, occasionally, you know, right, he's gonna have to reach out and say, hey, what do you think? Because we are talking taxpayer dollars, and, you know, obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
it's my job to make sure we're maximizing what we can, but also, you know, we wanna be fair. I mean, and they are commercial taxpayers we're talking about here, generally speaking, with these large ones, but
Yeah.
they're taxpayers just like residents, right? So we wanna have a fair process, and
We
I just
don't
wanna
wanna,
make sure that you folks understand that process.
we don't wanna just raise for things to do.
Right.
Either, so I think if,
Yeah.
and now we got these changes, so it's heavy on everybody, so I just am concerned that, you know, at some point we'll come out with a pretty clear list of priorities rather than everything at once, let's get our priorities done. I think we know, we're starting to see that more and more, with all the time we spend on it.
Sure.
I would agree, I would like him to come in and speak, I've never heard him
Okay.
speak, so
Yeah, that's a good
I'm,
point, yeah.
I'm gonna pull the newbie card, and say I would like to have him come in, so if we wanna schedule him for maybe that general meeting in February, just to
February?
kinda give us,
Oh, no, Greg's not.
Yeah, that would
Oh,
be
they're
the
right.
time.
do you wanna do
Make a March.
March committee of the whole, just because
March
I know
calendar.
we've got some other stuff in February
Yep.
also.
March, okay, yep, and like, Jessica, you said that would be executive session, because it was strategy, or strategy, that's.
And I will be the squeaky wheel on legal contracts, I really think those are important, and need to get addressed at the top of the contract list, so, and there's been some changes there, so I would like to have that in place before that happens.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for
Yeah, yeah.
input on that, I really do appreciate that. And then the other item I had was, just an update on lease purchase for technology. As you know, in December, you gave me authorization to work, with, financing, the banks or other financiers, to get, the best deal we can for our technology. And just a reminder, it's about $820,000, Dr. Drost and I are working on that. So he's moving along, we locked in end of the year pricing.
Yeah.
So at this point, you know, mostly good news, but a little unfortunate, as you may know before, we dealt with Key quite a bit, so Key Government Finance. And just this last time, so a little over a year ago, they sort of essentially declined to offer us financing. And that was typically, because their business model, especially with the banking regulations and all these things recently, have really kind of changed some of the bank's outlooks, and it can happen. They, even with our rating, with our great history with them, they declined, and they always gave us the best rates. They just, terms, I'd give them terms, and they would say, sure. Like, it was really good. So part of it now is they wanna get more sort of deposits on money in the bank, but unfortunately for them, they're not as competitive as now our bank with us. And that's where I kinda hold the line, so, all is that to say, Key is not really an option, Huntington has been an option. And again, they're obviously a bank that is, you know, a regional bank, and they've given me a proposal, which I like, I am having it reviewed though, because I just would like to have another look at another, you know, trusted outfit. So, but I'm having, Mike Purcell, Senior Associate, if you recall,
Yeah.
he helped us with our bond issue. He's, that's a free service they do for us, to say, hey, give me a look. If there's somebody else that's out there that he knows in his world, he'll let me know. So at this point, I expect to go with Huntington. The rate's 4.55% for, essentially a 3.5-year lease, which I think is pretty fair. I think we're on track, but if I can do better, I will. But, you know, and part of it is rate, yes, but it's also terms and knowing who you're working with. And Huntington's been, we've done work with them in the past, so.
Greg,
So that's good.
what do you think you saved by doing the end of the year, purchase rather than?
Yeah, I know, it was at least, 5% markup.
So on 800,000.
Yeah, and it might have been more in some aspects, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's good.
no, it's pretty substantial, and again, we've been, you know, they always push you, right, they want those orders, hey, get them in, so, and again, I didn't have the financing locked, but, again, we're in a good rate environment now, I think, as sort of that overnight rate's gone down.
Yeah.
You know, we're borrowing sub 5, I think it's never gonna be 1.73 again, probably, but, you know, we took advantage of what we could, but, yeah, I think we're in good shape, so. Unless there's any questions.
Alright, next up we have curriculum, so Ms. Anderson.
I have, just
proposed Great Minds Eureka Math Squared copyright 2021 as our K-5 math materials that would be adopted at the business meeting this month, as well as implemented for use beginning the fall of 2025 for 6 years. We have 6-year cycles here. So all of those materials for teacher and student materials are available for review for anyone, you guys or the public or Allison or anyone, outside my office, up until that adoption. So, and then obviously as policy states, people could ask you anything at any time, so. Also, number 2, we anticipate having both the grade 4 Camp Fitch trip and the grade 8 Washington DC trip on the January business agenda. Mr. Martley and I are close to sealing that, be ready to go. And also, just a reminder, maybe have some light reading of the high school middle school course catalogs this winter, you're welcome. Those will be on, the business agenda for this month also. And I know you mentioned, having a visitor, that would be an executive session for the March COW, but we do have, Dr. Badat scheduled to come and talk to us as a committee of the whole. You'll see that on Friday's letter, but he'll be here, the March committee meeting, just to give an update about West Shore.
I have one small question on the course catalogs. I noticed that we're still listing for journalism, we have newspaper and yearbook. I know we still have yearbook, but I was aware that a couple years ago, we didn't have enough to have journalism.
We promote it
So
in the event that,
continue to offer it in the event we get enough kids who fit into their schedule, because there's so many different
Correct.
places for their educational goals. But it's a good problem.
Robin, yeah, I have no problem talking with Rob, perhaps removing it, I can.
No, I
Wanna
just,
give it a shot? I'll-
and who teaches that if it goes?
Newspaper?
Yeah.
Newspaper is coded such that we can have any, it doesn't have to
Any of the
be,
English teachers or?
it could be taught by anyone.
No, I'm not asking for anything to happen, I was just curious if that was, if it was there, if it would still be held, if kids got enough. Thank you.
That's all I have tonight.
Alright, moving to policy and legislation. So, do I have to read any of these? This is second,
So it's a second reading, so you said ask the same question.
Okay. Second reading for policy 1240, policy 1330, and policy 2265. Does anybody have any questions for these?
I just wanna confirm that for the evaluation cycles, there were 2 versions at one point, and what we're considering is the version that continues us on an annual cycle, at least once a year. Is that right, Mr. Micklin? Those are the ones we currently are considering, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a reminder that our approval needs to be at least.
Perfect, for the third reading. Okay. Facilities. I have a quick question, Liz, you don't have to know this, but just wondering, what is going on with the middle school field? There's a big sign that says the field is closed, and I've been meaning to send Sam, and like every time I drive by, I was like, I need to email Sam. But I didn't, I was like, I'm gonna ask, just because it's on my brain. If you don't know, that's fine, I can email Sam, but.
I know it's there, I've seen it myself.
Okay, but that was my one.
Running on it anyway.
Yeah, like I just drive by it every time and I'm like, what's going on? So, alright, thank you, that was my,
I'll share that.
perfect.
Friday.
Alright, Board of Education report. Does anybody have anything to report?
I do for the senior center. You may have noticed if you've gone to the rec center, that they now have fencing around the entrance to the senior center. They are getting ready to do their upgrade and their
don't, I have to enter those things that I shared, course catalogs.
Okay.
Materials and,
Field trips.
thank you.
Yep, okay.
I'm gonna be the squeaky wheel, Greg, any of the legal contracts that can be done would be great,
Okay.
thank you.
For some reason, there's a 5-year forecast update. That is probably not the case.
Okay.
I'm gonna delete that right now, yes.
Update that.
I am not updating the forecast right now, so, yes, I know, right? The last thing to go on.
That's hilarious,
Yeah.
right?
And we'll make sure we add the student policy and legislation on this one for the process for 2024.
Let's look at the, general counsel piece, do you want that under other business?
Next up, I have public participation, I have one, and this is, Mr. Steven Shepherd. Remember that you have 2 minutes to speak. Peter, you can read my timer. And please direct everything towards me.
Alright. So I listened to the prior meeting notes on December 19th, and all the public participation was in the, meeting, at the meeting was still not public knowledge anymore, I guess. And the superintendent and the lawyer's conversation was all missing. Also, I'd like to bring up previous concerns about employee training payment of science of reading according to the Code of Ethics policy of the board section J, which reads, the board shall become informed concerning the issues to be considered at each meeting. I feel though this was not the case prior to the voting on the approval of funding, the board needs to do a better job at reading, researching, and understanding things before they vote, especially when it comes to our taxpaying money. The board should also review section H of the Code of Ethics, as you, all seem to need a refresher for your, responsibilities. I would also like to bring up the superintendent's behavior. I have seen previous board meetings, they're arguing with the board up and leaving without a board vote, saying you do not like the chosen lawyer, are all a very bad look for our school system. It seems needs to be a review of the superintendent's responsibilities under section 1230 H through J. The superintendent needs to hold his subordinates accountable for their actions, as well as the board needs to hold the superintendent responsible for his actions as well. So with that being said, let's see how much time I got, that's 12 seconds. I'd like, to congratulate you, and I'm looking forward to hopefully you, do a better job than prior leadership, so, and my time's up. So thank you very much.
Alright, I have no other public participation. Do we have anything else for other business?
Kelly, I would like to propose that we continue with our current, community organization assignments. That's the other piece of business we typically do in the work committee level.
Oh, our liaison
Yeah,
roles.
so
Okay. Okay, does anybody else?
Does
I
anyone?
just that's not stuff that's open to general public, per the sunshine laws. But I wanna say everybody's comments, even though we debate and argue with each other about things, that I guess that you guys all have to say, makes a lot of sense, and a lot of times, I really take account of what people are saying, it matters. And for you to step out, you know, just don't, I think you did a very good job last year.
And I just wanna add for folks, you know, our job at this debate is to discuss things, if we do that civilly and respectfully, which I believe you do here at this table, that is your elected representatives at work. So it should trouble no one that we have healthy discussion and debate at this table. So, again, I wanna echo Peter's sentiments, thank you, Jessica, thank you to everyone, it is not easy to sit in these seats. So, I'm very proud of this board and the work that we do, so. Kelly, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Start your turn.
Thank you. Alright, anything else?
I wanted, to share my thanks in your, nod of confidence in me. I have, every, inkling of doing a fabulous job. And I feel like just establishing, I believe the resolution called me the interim superintendent, and so I will use she, her. And you refer to the superintendent. Thank you.
Kelly, are we getting, Ed on the phone? Was that part of?
Oh,
the
we can,
business?
do we need,
I don't feel like I need.
I don't feel like I need to either.
I have one quick comment. He did say we were going to post the focus group notes, and I think that has been done. They are sitting there, I think they're ready to post. I would just make one comment. I think she just needs to add that these were focus groups conducted in October of 2024 as part of community engagement for the superintendent search. I think it needs one line so that people know that was at that point in time, and what it was for. So if you guys are all right with that edit, Kelly can just send it on, or I can, does anyone object?
I can send it on to Ed.
That's great.
That's an easy, I think that's an easy change, and I think it's worthwhile noting that.
And then I think you can coordinate with, the proper people to get it on the website.
Right.
And we
Yes,
said we would put it on our RRCS search site.
It is all later, I can tell you that those are posted, yeah, Greg Murphy did that.
Oh, we did, okay, I was not aware, alright, let's see about making that edit. That's small edit. Thank you. Thanks, Greg.
Sure.
Anything else? Alright, we are going to move into executive session, I'm going to read the resolution. The Rocky River City School District Board of Education hereby recesses into consecutive executive sessions for the purpose of: 1, considering the employment, dismissal, discipline, demotion, and compensation of a public employee official, and 2, considering the employment, dismissal, discipline, demotion, and compensation of a public employee and official. Upon conclusion of these executive sessions, the board president shall gavel the board back into open session at this location. All matters discussed in the executive sessions are designated to the public officials and employees as confidential pursuant to RC 102.03B because of the status of the proceedings and/or the circumstances under which the information will be received, and preserving its confidentiality is necessary to the proper conduct of government business. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Snyder?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Mrs. Frank?
Yes.
Mrs. Oleander?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Alright, so we can have everyone leave other than,
Well,
Ms.
good meeting
Anderson, Mr. Murphy,